What it do, what it do, what it do. It is your boy and Roof Coach and who am I with as always? Joseph Huggins, aka Old Man Huggie. Come sit or get off the pod. Episode 131. What the fuck is going on in the world, motherfucker?
On the live stream, I'm playing this just a heartbeat sound, so that was really intense because it got quiet. Or it's just do it. What the fuck's up, man? How are you, dude?
Dude, I'm good. Last week I was, out doing poolside Pantheon Prodigy shit, nautical navigation. And I was trying to unscrew this thing, and the lid came loose to like as I was unscrewing it, and so my elbow just like flew backwards into a pipe, and like my entire like it. So I had vitiligo growing up. You remember that?
Yeah,
My,
I remember.
Yeah, yeah. So I would get injections of steroids, like where the like vitiligo for the audience. It's like where your pigment turns like white. It's actually like where your white blood cells attack your skin pigment, so you lose it. So you'll see like people with like black, like just random blotches of like white skin. That's what I had on my chin, my elbows, and my knees. So I got steroids injected, and it actually got rid of it. Like I was actually at a party playing beer pong one time, crushing. I won like 12 games in a row, and I was just like talking hella shit. And this girlfriend of a guy that I just like whooped his ass, she had vitiligo, but she was all mad at me. She's like, "Fuck this guy! He's just always fucking talking shit, piece of shit." And and then I went up to her afterwards. I was like, "Hey," and like, I know you think I'm a douchebag, but I just want to let you know I had vitiligo, and this is what I did. And she was like, and just completely flipped, and she like loved me after that.
She was like,
But
"That's a
so
thing. That's a
yeah,
thing." Like it's.
I'm surprised. Every single person I talk to who has vitiligo, I tell them about how I got treatment for it and it worked, and they had no idea.
I
So
remember. I don't think it was vitiligo, but I had it. CP had it, where I was getting like little white blotches on like the inner part of my elbow. Got some on like my shoulder blade and on my chest. It slowly went away, but there was ways where there was like you could use Selsun blue medicated, and you would wash it, and it would like slowly kind of wash it out. But I had that shit for a while. Not like I wasn't diagnosed with vitiligo, but I had some weird blotchy spots that were it was like wider, and I had it. CP had it, so it was another brother that we went to school with. And
yeah, I don't know if it's because it's more noticeable on like black people, but it seems like vitiligo actually affects black people more than it does anybody else.
you could be
So
like Uncle Ruckus and have revitiligo, where instead of making your skin whiter, it makes it darker and darker and blacker and more darker. I got revitiligo.
darkness,
It's the
everybody.
opposite of what Michael Jackson's got. That's what he
So
says.
I know. Well, no, I had the Michael Jackson had vitiligo, and
Yeah.
that's why he started wearing the one glove on his hand because it was on his hand. That's how that whole shit started. But yeah, Drobeck used to call it the Billie Jean disease. He's like, dude, this guy's got the Billie Jean disease.
Dude, that's
Uh,
terrible.
but when I got the injections of the steroids, what it would dissipate the fat lipids that are in between your like skin and your bones. And so now on my elbows and my knees, it's just like skin to bone. So like my like those tendons that like your funny bone you hit like are they're just like exposed. So I just slammed my elbow, and like my entire like right arm was just like numb and like tingling and hurt. And I was like, like, and then yesterday, your boys, doing a bowel movement, and I reached back right arm, and I just sorry.
What's up with your connection
My
on this
mic, my,
mic,
my no,
dude?
it's just the cord on my mic. Sorry. So I slammed my elbow straight into the corner of the sink, and I was like, I almost cried, dude. And now my elbow, it looks like a softball, and it's just like completely bruised. It's fucking terrible. And like,
Oof,
I know,
brutal.
I know. And also, I felt like 2 weeks ago, I like was walking and I felt like I stepped on a sharp rock and I was like, damn, that was like sharp. Like, and I stepped on it again and I was like, is there a hole in my shoe? And I looked at it and I didn't see it. And yeah, there's been a hole in my shoe for 2 weeks. I've been walking around my work shoes.
Hmm.
So I've been walking around with a hole in my shoe, like so just my foot just constantly soaking like wet, like with the pool water, and then like stepping on like rocks, and then my elbows like out of
Blowing
commission.
your elbow up.
Yeah,
So
dude.
I remember I was a kid. I want to say this was summer of 8th grade, and I was at some baseball tournament in Tyler, Texas, and I was getting out of the pool, and I was climbing up one of those ladder things, and I slipped. And when I slipped, I came down with full weight on right on my shin. And when I tell you I had the gnarliest bump, that was like, I mean, maybe I don't know. I never like got it lit. Dude, for like 6 months. It was like if something brushed it. It was like, oh my god, what the fuck is that? Like
Yeah.
some of the most excruciating shits. When you have those, yeah, and then you hit it again, it's like
Like
crip.
hard
Yeah,
both
it's like
times.
crippling. You're like
Yeah.
it's crippling.
Yeah. It was like to the point where it hurt so bad. Like I just was like internalized the pain, almost cried, and then just like sat there.
It's one of those
Like
ones where you do it and it's like,
yeah. I know. And I always go through this thing like where I'm like fuck like and like try to think about how I could like reverse what just happened. And that's like not it, like it already happened, dude. Because like I've told myself like because I've hit my elbow a couple times like in the past few months. And I'm like, all right, dude, just gotta be careful with like your elbow. Like, like
yeah.
I'm telling myself this and then I hit it and I'm like, no, no. And then it's like, no, it's done now. And because like with the elbow, it's just like a creeping pain.
Yeah.
It's like it hurts and then it's about to hurt for a while.
Yeah, it's gonna linger, and then every time you move it, you're like, "Oh, god damn it!
Yeah.
What is this?"
Yeah. It's crazy. And then another little quick poker update. I thought I was gonna have to call you and extend the time that we hit record because I started a poker get. We record 8:30 p.m. my time and Pacific time. I started at 4 p.m. in this tournament. $5,000 guaranteed in the prize pool. It's a $11 buy-in, so basically $10 for everybody, and then $1 each goes to the house. And so 627 people entered. So there was 5,000 guaranteed, but actually it went up to 6,270 in the prize pool.
Yeah,
$1,000 for over 1,000 for first place, and I was in first place for a bit, but I was in the top 10 for the majority of the tournament. And 627 people, 115 make the money, and I got bounced in 46th place.
yeah, it's still pretty good though.
I know. I mean, I outdueled 580 people, but like, I was just so pissed because I flopped three nines, trip nines,
Yeah,
and I pushed all in with like 2.5 million chips, and this guy calls me with like 1.5 million on a flush draw, and he catches his flush. So then I was like down to like under 1 million chips, and the blinds were at like 50,000 right then, and so it was like it was a quick out after that, or like there was like 78 people left when that happened, and then I got out at 46, but I just couldn't make it back. The blinds were too big, and it was just too rough.
hmm.
But I was upset about that one because I don't know. I just kind of had a feeling because like I'd only played in one other tournament since the last ones I was telling you about, where I got like sixth, ninth, and 12th. I played in one yesterday, and I was in it for 8 minutes, and I already taken out three people. It was one of those knockout ones,
Yeah,
and I ended up taking out seven people, and then like lost. So I like made my money back plus some, but it was like a $5 one. But I just didn't want to like play anymore. And then today because I have Tuesdays off, so I entered into this one because it was 5,000 guaranteed. I hadn't even seen that. Well, I've
um,
seen that, but you usually have to put in a lot more. So
hmm.
for $10,
Oh yeah,
so I made $23.
okay.
Sad.
Did you see that? I was gonna put it in, but I didn't. That Robert F. Kennedy picked his vice president nominee. Some like 38-year-old female entrepreneur, like banker real estate chick. Have you seen this thing?
Yeah, she has the money
Yeah,
to pay for him to get on the ballots.
pretty much. He was like, I can't think. She's more qualified than anybody else. He's like, she's fucking loaded, and she can pay for me to get on the ballots.
Right.
Interesting pick, though. I feel like that's kind of
Yeah, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like,
I'm
what
not
is
sure. Like, good God, dude. I can't. And I know he's like, oh, I hurt. That's like an injury. I'm like, well, then keep your injured ass on the sideline because there's no way I could listen to a state
4 years of him?
4 years of it, a State of the Union address.
A debate,
Oh
even.
my God. Like, it's.
No, I mean, well, we're not gonna. He's not gonna get elected. That's the thing. But the thing is, like, if he's showing up, like, he's like only in Utah on the ballot, but he's like, he says he has enough signatures
Well,
to get on like Georgia
well
and like Arizona.
does Trump show up to debates? So if I mean, or is it just going to be RFK versus?
Trump said, when he won when he became the presumptive nominee when Nikki Haley dropped out,
Yeah.
that night he said, "I'll debate Joe Biden anytime, anywhere." I mean, he will look like a fucking pussy if he doesn't debate. But I mean, I don't know. He's got a court date here in like 20 days, so he
Yeah.
might be in jail by then.
Maybe.
He will be in jail because Michael Cohen got his lawyer was convicted for the exact same crime. And
Oh
they just
no, that's just Like that's what I was saying. This is probably out of all of them, the most open shut case that exists for
well,
them.
no, I think the documents is, except for they just have that
Well,
Eileen Cannon judge over there like wilding out.
Well, yeah, but this one, it's like there's already been somebody convicted for doing
Of
it.
the exact same thing.
So it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
somebody's already like, hey, like just so you know, like your chances aren't that great. It's literally like it almost be like a murder charge, and you've already been tried and convicted, and like we were both there and we both did it, and it's like, hey, so he's already
Right. I no, it'd be like I got tried and convicted, and I just was the passenger. And
Yeah,
you
and
were
it's
actually
like,
the
and
guy.
it's like it was provable that I was the gunman, and you were like, "Hey," I'm
Yeah.
like, "Well, not guilty." They're like, "Well, you were in the car, you're on video, you admitted to like you're basically the shooter because you say like in this text message, I'm the shooter, or I call first dibs on shooting, so I'm not really sure how you're gonna. It's the that's why I mean like
Well,
the most
no,
open
it would,
shut.
yeah, it would be no, it'd be like yeah, if it was like your ex girlfriend's boyfriend, and I got arrested, but I was in the passenger seat because it was like the murder was to benefit you, you know.
Yeah, like I'm the only
Like
one who
they were
benefited.
paying off Stormy Daniels to benefit Trump, and it is very serious. And in fact, when Michael Cohen was found convicted, the judge said that this is a very serious crime because it affected like it's election interference because like Trump had already been on the audio tape from the Access Hollywood where he's like talking about raping people.
What's weird is that like it's Access Hollywood. Like that's one thing that it's like it's not like he was like, oh, we caught a hot mic of Donald Trump, hanging out at the Playboy Mansion or on the Donald Stern or Howard Stern show saying something crazy. It's like we caught him on Entertainment Tonight. Like it's not like it's
He was just in the van.
it's
He
just
wasn't
like hanging
actually
out
on.
with the least popular
Billy
Bush.
Bush.
Yeah, with like the most least popular Bush on an Access Hollywood bus. Like that's just like that one. That was like the backdrop for that is just
When that tape came out where Trump admitted to
yeah
basically raping
yeah.
E. Jean Carroll, my mom goes, "Well, Billy Bush should get fired. Like why? Like for releasing that tape?" And I was like, "He didn't release the tape."
Yeah, you think yeah.
And I was like, and even if he did, who cares? But like, I like just because he's like Billy Bush is just caught astray in this. Like he just happens to be the guy that Trump's talking to. Like he didn't like go out and like
They were like,
leak
"Hey,
this.
go interview this douchebag," and he was like, "Okay," and then
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, that's why I say the most open shut is because somebody's already been
Yeah, that's true.
That's like, hey, like you're already that's totally happening. Like,
And the judge is super pissed now because so like what happened was they were supposed to start the trial like I think like a month ago or like a few weeks ago, and then the Trump's people complained that they didn't have access to these documents uh that the prosecutors had this whole time, and it was like 200,000 pages of documents. And then and in fact the SDNY had those documents, and the prosecutors didn't, and they just requested them from the SDNY like a year before. But also Trump's lawyers could have done that too, and the judge didn't realize that. And then when they get there, back to on, I guess it was yesterday, um, the they go, oh well, now that it's 200,000 pages, we don't have like enough time to look at all these documents. He was like, what? He goes, how many of these pages are like relevant to the case? The prosecutors were like 300, and like you could have had it a year ago. And like the judge was like, no, no, fuck that. He's like, we're setting the trial date now, April 15th. Like, and he was like, he like got like he raised his voice like three times. Like he was like,
He's
he got
probably
played. He
he's
got played on the delay.
yeah. Oh, for sure, for sure. Um, but yeah, I mean,
And then the only other thing, since we're already talking about Trump, it just is real funny. So you know how he put in like his daughter-in-law, the head of the RNC,
yeah.
the
Oh yeah,
Republican National Committee.
yeah, yeah.
So now they've made a rule where any donations that go to the RNC, the max amount that like you can donate to Trump's campaign will be taken out of that donation, and then the max amount you can donate to his super PAC that's been paying his legal fees, $78 million of legal fees so far. Um, that the max amount goes to that super PAC, and then after that, whatever's left can go to the RNC. Then that can be distributed to Republicans. So like this is like I'm telling you, like I know we're all scared, and I'm scared too. Like for him to get elected, but this could be such a clusterfuck because none of the Republican candidates get like funding for their campaigns, and we just take the House, the Senate, and the White House, and then we just have 4 years of just like boom, getting more shit done.
Yeah, I mean, now there is one downside, and I would say be careful what you wish for, because while we want to get shit done, you don't want it to be like it can't come off as the skin of everybody's neck. Like I'm dragging you to do this shit. Like that's the whole point. Is like yes, well I that would be awesome, and we get all this shit done, and we get rid of the Marjorie Taylor Greens and the Bobos and all these fucking
We don't have to get
idiots.
rid of the like we're
No,
not going to get
because
rid of them
no,
because of
because if
gerrymandering.
no, but like no, we can, because we see like where Bobert's trying to shift, and now Carrie Lake, who ran for governor's running for senate. They're trying to find some way, but like
Right, but if they're not in the majority, it doesn't matter.
I understand. But what I'm still saying is we don't want it to be like we're dragging this country in a direction. We I'm not saying that we don't need to. I'm saying cooperation is better than coercion, and that's where it's like
Bro, bro,
I'm just trying to
bro.
be positive, man.
Okay, me too. But Joe Biden, how many bipartisan major legislations, legislative acts does he need to pass? Like everybody thought he was a fucking idiot when he said like he
Well,
was
and
going
what I'm
to try to
saying is
compromise.
the like when I say like get rid of like the Bobos and the Mike Johnsons and these fucking schmucks, these peoples, because what they're doing is they're so hyperbolic. They make things so they're so volatile to the system, and they're so outspoken, and the way that our free market and just our media structure in general set up, they're gonna get clips, they're gonna get sound bites. We see that in these committees now, where everything's a sound bite for some campaign reel, where it's like you got two bananas, but then I take one of them. You're over there trying to steal my other banana.
But
And then
they don't get to be running committees when they're not the majority.
I get it. So if we can have Trump go away, if we can do away with some of these people that are gaslighting and doing this stupid shit, because there's not everybody that's on the right is 100% in line with what's going on. I don't think that all Republicans are. That's why they're quitting. They're resigning. They're
Yeah,
leaving.
all the ones
They're
that
like,
aren't down with it quit. Yeah, they literally now only have a one vote majority in the House, and we haven't even had an election yet. Like
those are the ones that, well, I mean,
Mike Gallagher, one of the Republicans, he just resigned, and usually like he said like he's not going to run again, and he's like, nah, I'm out this week. And then and Ken Buck, he voted for or it was either Gallagher or Ken Buck. One of them voted for the Ukraine funding, and then left. But his vote still counts in the House because you need 218 I don't know, some weird rule. So because he had already voted for it, it still stands because like they're not going to replace him until the next election.
Can
Like
we can we
that's the
discuss?
fucking part. If they could just stay, like enough of them have quit at this point. If all of y'all just stayed, like you wouldn't be being run by Matt Gates.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't even know if Matt Gates is running it. Can we
But even those Republicans suck.
can we talk about just in before we get started on therapy questions, just real quick, like the soap opera fucking rules that exist in like the House and in the Senate? It's like, oh well, Pelosi's out, but she keeps her office for a year because that's tradition, and then oh, this interim speaker for an hour is kicking this bitch out, but now she's showing up to argue some point later. It's the craziest shit ever. These people like come out of nowhere constantly where it's like I quit, but I'm voting for Ukraine and my vote counts. And I'm out this week, but I'll be back next week as my alter ego in, you know, Stefano, like some fucking soap opera shit, man. It's crazy. That they
Um,
all come out of the woodwork. Like they all just like pop up. It's like if you've been there once, you're allowed to. The red light's still on, so it looks good to me on my end. What are you doing? Can you talk?
yeah,
Yeah,
I
you're
can talk.
good.
It's just no, I know my microphone just I touched the cord in it. Okay, and then just to round out the Donald Trump news, True Social just went public on a backdoor listing today. So they merged with a company called DWAC, Digital World Acquisition
Yeah.
Company. Yeah, it's a shell company, but they were already public. So it went public at $49 a share,
Mm-hmm.
making it $5.5 billion worth of $5.5 billion. And Donald Trump has like over 50% of these shares. Um, and it went up to $58 and is up in after hours right now. So right now the market cap's at $6.5 billion for Truth Social, which brought in a total revenue, not profit, this year $3.5 million.
Well, and what
But
they're
it's
saying.
getting a 1200 x valuation from it's the memeiest meme stock of all meme land.
Well, and that's why a lot of people are saying like, oh, you got to short the fuck out of it.
Yes.
Short it because what's gonna happen is he's gonna sell all of his shares, li-
Which he can't for 6 months.
liquidate them as quick as whenever he can, if he can, liquidate them, take the money, pay off shit, use that to pay for shit. So it's basically, does it go belly up before that? Because I remember they were looking and showing their corporate offices, which pretty much don't exist. They're like bare bones. There's like no actual like headquarters location. It's all shisty as fuck, man.
Yeah, it is not a legit company at all. It is not worth $6.5 billion. It has like a million people that are, or no, it doesn't even have a million. I think it has like 500,000 users, maybe, or maybe one a million and 500. I don't know. It's tiny, dude. It is tiny, and the way though the Trump
Ooh,
could liquidate his.
sound in your audio is all fucked up. There you go. Try again.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so the way that he could liquidate it is if the board of Truth Social gives him like an out and says that he can liquidate it sooner than he's supposed to. Um, which I don't know if that's gonna happen though because Eric Trump's on the board. Um, who else is on the board? Uh, oh, Devin Nunes, former like aide to like McCarthy and or no, former like he was like in the House and like he was like the one who
He was a
like
tool.
he was a tool and then he left Congress to start True Social.
Yeah, he was a
So
tool and then left to start a social media company for Donald Trump because he's such a Trump tool that he's
yeah.
like, I gotta get out of here.
So it's Devin Nunes, Eric Trump, and then I forget who the other stooge Trumper is that's on the board. So like they obviously could, but then there's as soon as Donald Trump liquidates his shares, the thing's gonna plummet. So since it's publicly traded and he's not allowed to for 6 months, there will be immediate lawsuits. Like But
Yeah.
maybe Trump. I mean, Trump doesn't care about lawsuits if he can just get the quick bag to pay off his debts.
Yeah. True. 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 I don't think he gives a shit.
Yeah, he doesn't. But I mean, so it closed at 58, but it hit 75 during the day.
That's crazy.
I know. And like, I mean,
Maybe
could
that's
you
a
see like
stock
could
you
you
ride. Maybe that's just a stock you ride for like 5 months and then sell and then short.
no.
If he's got to keep it for 6 months.
What do you mean? If you bought in at 75,
No,
today,
not
you
at 70.
already lost like
It's at 75 right now.
no, it was, but I'm saying you could have bought it at 75. Like it's only been available to trade today.
No, I know.
So
So if you
there's
bought it at
people that have
49,
lost their asses today. Like,
I gotta buy that Trump stock, man, because that's what it is. That's basically what that is a Trump stock.
yeah, but I could also see it being like because you know who else is on the board is that guy. Is this guy who's like uh he has worth like he's worth like 15 billion. He has like 15% stake in ByteDance in TikTok. And so Trump talked to him, and that's when Trump said he didn't want to ban TikTok anymore. I think that guy's on the board, um, but he might not be. He might have just bought a bunch of shares. So that was another way to like how could they get Trump some money? Be like, oh, we'll just pump your stock for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's so. Do they use Truth Social as a new way to purchase properties and go about doing what they were doing before? That's the question. That's what I've been wondering is what form is Trump going to take to try to continue to do business? Not in New York, whatever, but in like what's his next move to continue to do what he's
None.
been.
He will. No, no, no. There's two options for him. He becomes president, and then he doesn't worry about business anymore because he's the dictator of the United States. Or he loses, and then he goes to jail. He knows that. We know that. Everybody knows that. He's running from jail, not for president. So, like the fact that he's gonna lose the presidency and not go to jail and then just start doing business again, like, but not in New York. There's no fucking way. Plus, the dude's about to be 80. You know,
Well, no, but not just for him, but for his family. I'm just saying there's some.
they could even run the Trump organization for a few years.
Well, but
Remember, they put like somebody in charge.
but somebody could run Truth Social. I'm just saying if evaluated,
True Social, they can. I'm just saying.
if that company's being evaluated at like obviously absurd, but it's being said at like $5 billion evaluation on the market, he's gonna
6.5.
6.5. He's gonna so if he owns 50% of that, so he's at like what 3.5 or
He had-
$3.25 billion worth in
Well,
shares.
when it went public at 5.5 billion, that his shares were worth 3. So now he's probably got like 300 or probably like 3.6 billion.
What do you think he's gonna try to do with 3.6 billion? Do goofy shit. Besides, if
It's not going to be worth 3.6 billion by the time he can cash out unless they do something. There's no fucking way this thing it stays this high at 6 months. Like people are going to
he just
short
needs
the
it,
fuck
he
out
just
of
needs it. He just needs it to be a billion. But yeah, people are gonna short the fuck out of this. This is gonna be like a GameStop meme type shit. People are gonna short the fuck out of it.
Yeah, and it will be short-term gains, capital gains, so he'll have to pay like a 30%, tax on that. So just keep that in mind.
True.
I mean, it is kind of insane that like he got hit with like all these fines, and he's like obviously not a billionaire, and then like today, technically, you could say he's a billionaire, probably for the first time in his actual life.
Yeah. Legitimately.
Yeah, just like the week after he got exposed for not being a billionaire, he becomes a billionaire. Only like this is a sick world for Trump, man. Like they're like, oh, you look at you're a billionaire, but yeah, I guess he could borrow against the shares. I mean, if he's allowed to borrow, yeah, you can't borrow from any banks like
Yeah,
in New York.
no one's gonna give him
That's
shit.
where they all are.
No one's gonna give him shit.
Hit up. He's got Deutsche. He's got Deutsche Bank on speed dial on number 2.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Except for he owes them
Yeah,
300 mil.
yeah, they're on
Yeah.
they're on speed dial number 2, and they're number 2 blocked contact because they I might
Yeah.
call you first, but I'm calling you. You can't call me.
Yeah, he owes them 300 mil, so that'd be like, he's overdrawn on his checking account, so he doesn't want to like deposit his paycheck in there because then they're gonna, bring it back to zero before they give him any money. He couldn't like get money from Deutsche. They're like, well, you owe us 300, so uh, how about you give us 300 million and then we'll talk about loaning you some money. It'd be.
Yeah. Ready for therapy questions?
Oh, I'm ready. As we do, we start with therapy questions. Therapy question number one, Joseph. Would you rather have the power to end all suffering or have everyone's thoughts be broadcasted publicly?
Oh, and everyone's suffering.
I don't know, man. Suffering brings
No, because that's like, do I want to universally make everybody feel better or have the power to intervene in people's lives and make them better? Or do I want to universally make everybody's lives worse by allowing everybody's internal thoughts to become public knowledge? That would be shitty. No one would keep their job because they'd be like, "Oh, well, you like everybody would hate their
well,
boss."
nothing could get done. Nothing can
Yeah,
get done. Yeah.
it would just be drama all the fucking time if people could. So I'd much rather have the ability to, and I was saying everybody like have the power to end all suffering if I wanted to. Obviously, like I probably would. That sounds like the right thing to do. I'm not like Thanos, where it's like, oh, I got all the Infinity Stones. I'm gonna snap and make everybody disappear. I'd be like, I'm gonna snap and everybody's like, good, bro. Like I got the gang, everybody's squad, Blood Crips over is done. GDs versus Vice Lords over. Everybody's together. We're all just like drinking Fago, hanging out with a bunch of juggalos, watching Bob Ross and Martha Stewart's chilling with us. Like everything is good. Everyone's getting along. I'd rather do that than be like, oh, everybody can hear what everyone thinks. Everybody would just argue all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah, you're right. I guess like because it's an option between two things.
Yeah, it's like improving
Yeah, yeah.
people's lives, or I mean, making everybody's lives
Right.
worse. Like
Yeah,
there's
because
nothing
like we
good.
saw what social media did to society. So imagine what publicly broadcasting everybody's thoughts would do. I mean, that would just be crazy. But I guess we could like we the as the United States, that would be an advantage though, because like we would know what Putin's thoughts are. Putin can know what our thoughts are because we're not managed by, or we're not run by like one person. We have like a Congress, and we're like pretty like transparent about what we're doing. Like unless we're secretly don't want Russia to lose because we think that'd be a bigger problem, then that's the problem.
Yeah.
All right, I agree with you. Therapy question number two. Would you rather know all the mysteries of the universe or know every outcome of every choice you make?
Mysteries of the universe. I think one of the cool things is like the mystery of life and being able to look back in retrospect and see how decisions you make or what you've done has like affected you or where it's led to where you are. So I wouldn't want to take that mystery out of life, but I would like to understand like the mysteries of the universe. That's like anybody. I mean, to me, most people would choose the first over like the primary over the latter. Like I would. I'd much rather know how everything works, why everybody's here, how the universe was created, how the earth was created, how all this shit worked. You'd have answers to all of these unanswerable questions because you could be like, hey man, if there's some things where it's like, hey dude, if you start smoking crack, I bet you down the line it's probably not going to be good for you, and I bet it ends to a whole bunch of bad other decisions, and like that's not a mystery, right? But it's like, oh, I'm going to go be a vet and start my own business. I wonder what's going to happen. I wouldn't want to like it
No,
would
I'd be like, I'm gonna go all in.
you'd be over no you'd be overly but you it'd be, everything you do would be calculated. So would you genuinely be happy doing that, or did you make that decision because you knew the outcome? That's what I'm saying. You there wouldn't be any like blind leap of faith. There wouldn't be I'm going all in, because it'd be a calculated all in. It'd be like playing poker and you know that you're going to win. What happens if I bluff on this? Does this guy fall for it or does he not,
Yeah.
and I'd lose my ass? You'd know. So that they're at that point,
So
it's not
poker's over.
poker's over. You could play poker. You'd be the best poker player in the world. People would accuse you of counting cards and blackjack. You'd have all these scandals around how you play because you would never lose because you would know the outcome. So the thrill that you have playing poker, even though you've played so many hands, you'd lose it. It'd be gone. It'd just be like a chore that you have to do to make sure you're making your bread. And that's what every decision you would become because it's you made that decision.
I know, but no limit poker, like it wouldn't be a chore because you could hop around to
Well,
like
yeah,
casinos where they don't know you. You go to a high stakes table,
yeah, but hey,
win one hand and leave.
good things have side effects, bad things have benefits. That's a Grouch line. So like that'd be great.
Shout out the living legend.
Yeah, but there'd be a whole side effect of you winning that much. People will be accusing you of cheating, and then if you're playing in high stakes games, that's even more dangerous, more risque.
So well, there you go.
You would
now
have
I got the throwback.
you
Now
would
I got
have
the
to
thrill.
you would have to purposely throw card hands to be allowed to come back.
Oh, I would.
You couldn't win all the time. You'd have to lose your ass sometimes.
Obviously.
Because if you didn't,
I wouldn't lose my ass, but I would lose like small hands, knowing that I could just get them back at any time, like chips back at any time I wanted.
yeah, that's true.
But yeah, like I mean, I guess if like the mysteries of the universe are like shit that like if you drop that knowledge like on some scientists, we're like that would be like, oh shit, that actually is something we hadn't even thought about, but now it makes sense and it leads to like it opens up like society. But if it's like if you're just like coming back or like you just sound like another fucking like Joseph Smith starting like or L. Ron Hubbard,
Yeah.
where you're like even if it is true, and then people are like, okay, dude, whatever the fuck. Then it's like how is that cool? If you just sound like a fucking psychopath and nobody actually believes you, now you just know.
Yeah, that's true.
But if it was like if it was like a logical explanation but there was no way that we could have figured it out.
Dude, you would basically be Biff from Back to the Future. Where
Yeah.
Biff like gets the almanac, wins all these bets, comes this big bajillionaire, big man on campus. I don't know why I just said that. But
And for you kids out there, an almanac is it's like a book that has like data of what happened in like a certain time period. So it's like you could get like an almanac for like farming in like 1980, and it will like tell you like the conditions.
yeah,
Right?
like the weather, the rain. Almanacs are super weird.
Yeah, like the internet exists now, so I don't feel like that almanacs, but maybe like digital almanac.
Real talk. I bought this book when I was a kid, and I've been tracing back to why I enjoy true crime and why I enjoy that stuff, and I attest it to this book, and it's like my obsession with information. I got eyewitness books. They used to have some lit books like Arms and Armory. It'd be like guns, and it'd just be pictures of shit. And I bought the top 10 of everything, like 1999 or 1996, something like that. And there was just a huge section on just like true crime, missing people. It was like the weirdest shit, and I was super obsessed with it. And I was thinking about it the other day, and just you were talking about like books, top 10 of everything, dude. Put me on the path to loving true crime.
The book is called Top 10 of Everything?
Yeah, it's top 10 of everything is what it's called. You could look it up. It's real. Like Google it. But it's just like top 10 lists of like top 10 like most populated cities, worst traffic. It's just like a massive thick book of just top 10 lists of like anything you could think of. Best-selling cars, worst-selling cars, da-da-da-da-da. It was just like an info
that year?
Of that whole year. And then a new one would come out. So in that one, and this is what's weird, and that's why when I grew up, I was like, I know who this guy is. There was a serial murder dude named Andrei Chikatilo, who is Russian, and he was like the most prolific. And I was like, who is this dude? And it was like this list, and there was a picture of this crazy Russian dude in a cell. I don't know why they let me buy that book. Like, Durham Library was fucking wild. You could check out.
Lit.
You could. I
What
was
was
checking.
the librarian's name?
I mean, I'm not going to shout out name, but let's just say there was somebody in the grade above us who was legit, who we've brought up before, and then they had a son in our grade, started with a D. But there was Miss D, and she was the lady who ran the Durham Library, and she held it the fuck down.
Why aren't you saying names?
Well, I mean, I guess Drenka, Miss Drenka.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Miss Drenka was the one who
That
held
was
it
my
down.
neighbor.
Yeah, the Drenkas are sick. And by the way, and shout out Stephanie Drenka, like huge activist, like does all this amazing work in Dallas. She
Hottie.
like, dude, she kills it. Like she
was in charge. She hired me for the school newspaper because I applied when going into high school, and she was like the editor in chief, and I wrote like a article or like story, and she read it. She was like, "Oh fuck yeah!"
Yeah.
And then they canceled the newspaper.
Yeah, but Miss Drenka let me check out like Stephen King books, all sorts of shit, and that was wild. Books that like maybe at like the elementary school. I mean, over there you could check them out. Anybody could check them out, but you know they were huge too. I was like, what are these doing here? There's a whole like horror section and stuff. That's why I was like, librarians are pretty tight. They hold it down. They're not trying to keep you from reading. They'll try to guide you to stuff that's good, but or what they think you might be interested in. But their ultimate thing is just to get you reading, and that's something I never realized in the time. Anyways, I digress. Shout out Miss Drenka. Shout out
Miss Drenka.
And hey, no, you know what? Shout out Angie LeBou. Angie LeBou is
Oh, get the fuck out.
Hold on, she officially retired, bro. She's retired from teaching. Because we're Facebook friends, bro. Miss LeBou is gang gang.
Do you tell her how much that she gets talked about on this international podcast?
No, I should. But shout
By the way, last episode?
Yeah.
Like double the streams.
Oh, really?
Than our normal episodes.
It's all
like
that,
out the gate.
It was all that jail talk.
I don't know. Maybe the Royal Clown. It could be the title. I don't know what the clickbait shit is. It could be when I dropped it, and because sometimes I'm like releasing it right when we're done, and it's like at 11 o'clock my time, so it's not like the next day, you know. So maybe it's. Like,
but that's first thing in the morning across the pond, where we have a lot of listeners. Shout out across the pond.
That is true.
They got good taste, European taste, like my car. That's right.
Royal Clones.
Oh, and
before we go, got cancer.
Yeah, can I just say, like,
are you apologizing to the Brits?
I'm not gonna necessarily. I was speculating. The world was speculating. There was a lot of cryptic.
Hold up. I don't think that you're necessarily still wrong. He could be cheating on his cancer wife.
I'm just saying. I never said. I said I had my own theories, and I laid out a bunch of them. And we did mention that she might actually still be really sick, but there's got to be more to it. It's got to be more serious than what we think it is for it to be this secretive. And yes, it came out that Princess Kate Middleton, does have cancer. So she had abdominal surgery, and then after the surgery, I'm assuming they did a biopsy on whatever it was, and it came back cancerous. So she's on preventative chemotherapy to make sure that the cancer doesn't come back. But it wasn't the surgery, and that's where it's kind of weird, where it's like the surgery didn't have to do with cancer, but after the surgery, they discovered.
Do we know that? Do we know that?
That's literally basically what she said in her statement, is that after her abdominal surgery, they discovered that she had something cancerous.
I just saw another white lady talking to a camera, and I thought it was Senator Katie Britt.
And so that video of her, video of her is most likely her, and she's on chemo, which is like tough. So I mean, I do apologize just for speculating. The world is come on, man. We got.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer family.
I mean, all I'm saying is no, but I mean, like we talked about before, is she's not directly a part of the family. So the way that those people have been treated in the past is why people are skeptical. It's because the princess died. It's because of Meghan. It's because of all this other shit that they're like, hey, hold on a second. This seems super goofy. And it's always somebody who's not like, 8 generations removed from just being inbred and goofy as shit. Like, or have that.
8's a lot.
Have a hat.
Like, I mean, Elizabeth married her cousin, right?
But there was like the Habsburg jaw. That was like a whole thing that existed where the pictures are just like cartoon characters, and you're like, bro, they tried to make him look nice. Like, that's rough. So I mean, this version is like probably one of the least inbred versions we've seen. So that's good.
That's
Um,
not true.
yeah, in the oh no, in the realm of like
Wasn't Queen Elizabeth's husband her cousin?
what Prince or King Charles?
No, King Charles is her son.
Oh, I'm sorry, King. What's his name? No, I don't think they were direct cousins. No, because he's from a
He's from
Osh.
like Germany or
Yeah, he's
something.
like a big German, big blonde German dude.
Let's find out. His distant cousin.
How distant?
I don't know.
Because people were marrying, like I'm saying, in the terms of royal families, they were like marrying their first cousins and shit. They were like on
They were
some.
cousins through Queen Victoria.
Is that like third cousins? Is that fourth cousins? Because come on now, it's like what are we talking like Alabama first cousins, or are we talking like Mississippi third cousins? There's degrees to this.
Uh, I mean, he's like a straight up cousin.
Okay, so Georgia's second cousin. All right, well, now we know what we're dealing with.
I'm just saying they're not. I don't know if we could say that they're the least inbred based
One of
upon the
them.
fact that they're even related at all.
Oh no, definitely, 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 definitely. But I mean, anyways, we regret. Shout out, apologies.
Yeah, because yeah, her husband had British. He's like British, but his family had to like bounce like during some like war,
Great explanation.
some Greco-German war. All right, therapy question number 3. Would you rather spend the rest of your life with a rich partner who doesn't love you or a poor partner who loves you deeply?
I'd definitely be poor. I mean, I watched my dad. I mean, shout out OG. I mean, my dad's been married a couple times, and I've seen some women that
Eh,
loved his money and did not love him, and it did not look fun at all. It looked miserable. But it's like
but
that.
he's the one with the money, so it would be like
It's not like he
she,
really loved them either. It's like it would become so toxic and volatile that
but
it
you
would
would be
reach
the
the swell.
girl in that situation, not your dad.
Yeah, but still, so then a rich person who doesn't love you would be unfulfilling. You'd be that'd be the peak of like I'm rich and I'm miserable.
Yeah, yeah.
As where like if you have somebody who loves and supports you, and you guys are struggling, at least you're struggling together and you're in it
But,
together, rather than being in it like oh well I'm loaded.
well, hold on. It says they love you deeply. What if they're like, psychopath?
Well, I mean, then y'all are psychos together because you're with them. So you're with a partner who's psycho about you.
And
So
loves you. Yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
so it's either they love you so much it might be dangerous, or they don't love you at all. Like I'd rather it be take a little danger.
But they're rich.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is especially for where we come from. Like I have a full understanding that money does not make you happy
Oh
at all.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like money does not mean shit in the grand scheme of things. Does it help you live the life you want? Yes. Does it help you accentuate? Yeah. Do we both have nice computers? So I've worked my ass off to build this fucking thing so we could do this podcast. Yeah, it takes money to do that shit. But was I happy in my life before we were doing this? Yeah. Was it different? Sure. But do I still love it? Absolutely. And that's where it's like that love and support when you don't have that, when you get it, whenever you cherish it when you have it, so you wouldn't really want to trade it for anything, right? It's like whenever I talked about
No, I agree. I agree. But like, yeah, and it's just because they're poor doesn't mean I'm poor.
yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I mentioned in her last pod, but the PTH, the Pam Hick dude, like held it down. There was an unconditional love she had for me throughout my whole life. That's like borderline irreplaceable. Like where she had my back when I needed somebody, and that meant more than my dad trying to bail me out of jail or pay for my tickets, which he didn't do. Her answering that phone call was worth I'd come to grips that I might be in there for a month or two because of the conversations we had and just talking me down and being supportive, right? And that's like worth its weight in gold, you know, as opposed to just like, oh, I'll get you out, but like, fuck you, dude. Like, which is basically what my dad would have done if he got me out, and should have done, because it was some stupid shit. But at the end of the day, like, I'd take that no help and support than support and like, or no help and no support, like, or help and no support. Fuck that. Like, it's not worth it. Like, that's not worth the trade-off, right? At least to me, it's not. So being rich with somebody that's rich, that doesn't appreciate you, doesn't want to spend time with you, then you're just going to be living your own separate life. And then, but you're still with this person and you're dependent on them to make sure that you can live day to day. That sounds shitty. That sounds really shitty. That sounds like you're dating your parents.
Or you, yeah, that's true.
Because like they love you, but they don't love you.
It could be like this. It could be like this. I ran into a person on Bumble yesterday who's married, not looking for monogamy, short-term relationship, open to long, looking for a casual but connected FWB, friend with benefits, fun dates, flirty texts, sexy in-person chemistry. I'm very happily married to an amazing guy and enjoying ethical non-monogamy. That's I made me feel weird.
She probably collects crystals.
Nah, she's like a mom. She looks like a Karen.
No, that's. Ugh. I mean, everybody's got different tastes and different flavors, whatever. But you know, if that's what they're into and that's how they love and support each other, then more power to Janet and fucking Bryson and their not ethical non-monogamy. Live your best life. But you know, I don't think that's. Because in the end, they could be, that person deeply loves you, whatever that form of love is. I don't have to understand it, but you know, swingers or whatever. Married 40 years, we've been swingers for 20, and it's a blast. Like, I love my man. Like, that's a whole fucking thing where, you know, people do that.
I know,
shit.
but it makes me feel cuck adjacent, and I feel uncomfortable like that. You know, I'd rather fuck his wife without him knowing. You know.
Well, I mean, okay, that's totally fine, but like, I'm just
the cold non-monogamy, that stuff makes me uncomfortable. Like, I could never be in an open relationship. I would lose my mind.
Yeah, that'd be very unhealthy. But
the last thing in the world I want is my significant other to be like hooking up with somebody else. Like, why would I ever like put myself in that situation?
Yeah. But yeah, definitely poor person who deeply loves you, because that doesn't mean I'm poor. That just means that they're poor.
Yeah.
So, okay. And second of all, I mean, I don't want to be like hanging around waiting for somebody to give me my allowance. I don't want to be a nuisance to somebody. And if you're dependent on somebody who's super rich and they don't love you, I'd feel like I'd be a nuisance. I don't think I'd be like a help. I'd be more of a hindrance, right? Than I would be like contributing to anything.
I don't know. I mean, like, dude, I could contribute to a lot. Give me the money, fund me.
Yeah, no, I guess I get that. I guess it's more just how I guess with my mindset. If you asked me that at like 17, I'd be like, yeah, leave me at home, bro. Leave me at home.
Looking for somebody to like be deeply in love with. So like to just like toss that aside just because you're gonna be with some rich person,
exactly,
knowing that it's not gonna work out is dumb. I agree.
Yeah, that's just where it's like, nah.
All right, final therapy question. Therapy question number 4, Joseph. Would you rather be a famous person in your lifetime, but forgotten after death, or unknown during your life, but famous after death?
Famous after death, bro. For
Really?
sure. For sure. The post-humorous, that'd be awesome. Like one of my favorite authors, H.P. Lovecraft, like nobody read his shit when he was alive. And like Alien exists because of like wild shit that he's fucking inspired. Lovecraft Country, a whole black television about black struggle on HBO that should have gotten extended but didn't. And then you know now with all this Jonathan Majors shit, kind of makes sense. So shout out to HBO for canceling Lovecraft Country, because you would have had to cancel it anyways. But he became famous after his death. All of his stuff became like legend
Yeah, that
after
that's the
the.
same with like Van Gogh. That shit, he cut his ear off, like went like psychotic, and then he's like, selling like paintings for like 20 mil.
Because like famous person in your lifetime but forgotten after death, I feel like that sounds fleeting. There would be no impact. I'd rather have an impact and have it last after I'm gone than my impact just be like a flash in the pan, you know, like
I
you
mean, I do want
be
to
a
leave like
ghost.
I do want to leave a legacy, you know,
Yeah.
like couple like school departments that I buy up, slap my name on, stuff like that.
Inner city school
Like a podcasting
academy,
department, yeah,
podcasting academy.
over at Cal State Channel Islands.
Let's go.
But that's because I'm like pretty sure. I mean, who knows? I'm still young. Like I might become famous, but um, I think like enjoying like the fruits of being famous is compelling. But I do agree, like people still talking about you after you die, kind of is like immortality. So I don't know. Like it all depends on really like what happens when you die. Because if it's like we're never gonna even like know about Earth ever again, yeah, might as well just like be famous while I'm like out here.
All right, I feel you. I feel you on that.
All right. That is it for therapy questions. Joseph, I like this little thing we did last week where we take a 10-minute break before the topics. Are you down?
Yeah, I'm down. Let's do it.
Okay, we will be back 9:45. The break's a good idea. And we're back for the topics. Joseph, would you like to start us off?
That's a lot of music playing. I should probably change that. It was a little too upbeat. What's going? There we go. Because I have this microphone that's above me, but then this headset also has a microphone, and if I don't turn off the headset for this, I hear the room, the ambient noise, while I hear myself talk. It's like the most confusing shit ever. Articles for the day. Not that great. I'm sure as everybody has seen this already, but the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore has collapsed. At least six people are feared dead. This is an article from NPR KERA. I'm going to read through some of this, and we'll touch on this, and then we'll talk about the bigger fucking issue that we have in this country. At least 6 people are presumed dead following the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore early Tuesday morning. The bridge fell into the Patapsco River right after it was struck by nearly 1,000-foot-long container ship, sending several people plunging into the frigid waters. During a news update Tuesday evening, the Coast Guard reported that they're ending the active search and rescue operation for 6 people left unaccounted for at 7:30 p.m. local time. So they were looking for these people for almost 24 hours. Based on the length of time that the bridge has collapsed, the water temperatures, they don't believe search teams are going to find any individuals still alive. If you've seen, there's a video, there's tons of still video and still photography of this bridge. It's an iconic bridge in Baltimore, crosses right in front of the harbors. The Baltimore Harbor is the 13th largest port of import in the country. If you've watched The Wire, the whole second season is about like fucking dock workers, and they literally have the Francis Scott Key Bridge in this whole big scene, and they use it as a metaphor for, you know, not giving up. But super long ass bridge, old ass bridge. This shipping container, long story short, lost
It was built in the 70s.
It's when you look at the way it's structured, normally there's like buffers or bumpers at the bottom of the bridge that if a boat were to get too close, it would keep them from hitting it. This bridge has no bumpers around it, which is pretty interesting. So there's nothing to stop something from hitting the bridge and doing severe damage to the bridge. A speedboat going really, really fast could fuck this bridge up because there's nothing that really separates the water or a boat from the actual scaffolding or pillar or whatever the fuck they're gonna call it, the legs of this shit that hold it up.
This cargo ship is not going to get stopped by a bumper. Like, I mean, this thing is fucking huge. It's loaded.
No, but they're saying that those help prevent them from getting close enough to cause serious structural damage. There's nothing there. So this big shipping container that's over 1,000 feet long lost power a couple times. If you watch the video, there's one video that shows it lose power and the ship go black, come back on, lose power again. And, you know, they say that ships that big you can't really adjust how you steer them when they lose power, but it lost power. It crashed into this bridge. They were able to get a mayday call out, so they were actually able to limit the amount of traffic that was on the bridge after it hit, because they were aware that it hit. They announced that they were probably going to hit this bridge, but there were still some people on it, unfortunately. But
they stopped people before the boat hit. Like, they knew it was going to hit.
Yeah.
As soon as it hit the bridge, it collapsed.
I wouldn't say as soon, but short.
I just watched the video while you were talking.
Was it sped up?
It was like literally just boat goes in, bridge collapse.
But is it the sped up version? Because there's sped up versions where it hits and it's there for a second and then it fucking goes, and it's like boom, boom, boom.
My point is that they knew that it was not going to be able to turn, so they prevented cars from going on the bridge and save lives that way.
Yes, definitely. They definitely were able to save lives by people not going onto the bridge. But I mean, the whole bridge has collapsed. Where is it? The recovery phase began at 6 a.m. local time. We're hoping to put those divers in the water to begin to get more detail.
Wake when this happened, it came on as breaking news. It was like 3 a.m. or something.
Could you see it? Yeah, I guess it hits. Yeah, no, it's pretty instantaneous. Well, that's just like, it's like fucking Spider-Man, dude. That it didn't even look real. And now there's a huge ramification. Well, this ship had at least one previous incident. The vessel,
right? That's the other thing. Yeah, this ship's already been involved in some dumb shit.
Yeah, it's already been involved in some goofy shit. But the Port of Baltimore, they're saying it's not closed. This bridge runs across the entrance of it. They got to get all of this shit out of the water before they can really actually viably use it. So it will put a delay on some things. Amazon orders, there's lots of stuff that comes in that's definitely going to affect the economy, probably more short term than long term.
13th largest. Get the fuck out of my face. We have Long Beach out here, the biggest. Like, I've seen that get plugged up like during COVID, but nobody's worried about Baltimore.
See, but that's exactly why you need to watch season 2 of The Wire. It's not true, man. You wouldn't be talking like that if you were dealing with the big Greek, son. But now this is obviously terrible. This has sparked so many bullshit theories about people tweeting that this was intentional, people saying that that like there was an EMP that shut off, there's a cyber attack. Andrew fucking Tate,
What's an EMP?
electromagnetic pulse. So this is true. So one of the things that they say is if you were to detonate a nuclear bomb, it's more dangerous to detonate it in the atmosphere above the ground than it would be to actually drop it on the ground, because the EMP and the electromagnetic pulse that would exist would go so much farther that it would wipe out electronics for like infinity. Basically, if a crazy solar flare slapped the earth in the wrong way and created some sort of like EMP type effect, it would wipe out all electronics. And EMP,
Well, we get solar flares all the time. The sun just recently, like last month, flipped its poles. So
you're a
I
little
guess
scratchy. You're a little scratchy on your mic. Sorry.
all right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so what was I saying?
Well, I was saying you said we get EMPs and they just flip poles.
Oh,
on the
yeah,
sun.
yeah. So the sun every 7 years, I think, flips its poles, like its magnetic poles, like the Earth does. The Earth does it like every couple 100,000 years. But when it does it, there's solar flares, and yeah, like those solar flares can disrupt like GPS and stuff. Like now, like it does, like it could throw GPS off for like 30 minutes or something. Like, so I know what you mean by the EMP.
Yeah. So if something like that, some people are saying there's an EMP or there was a cyber attack and that it was forced to crash into this. There was a movie that the Obamas produced about the end of the world with Sandra Bullock. I can't remember, like What We Do at the End or whatever.
Was it Sandra Bullock or Julia Roberts?
Julia Roberts, sorry. Sandra Bullock, I was thinking Bird Box. And it shows the bridge is destroyed supposedly, and then it's like, oh, like I'm telling you, everything is a fucking conspiracy theory. This is a bigger issue when it just comes to our national infrastructure. This is something we've talked about. There's Build Back Better, where they're talking about building roads.
Nothing to do with the infrastructure, I don't think. Like, a fucking giant cargo ship ran into the bridge. Like,
But we've had bridges collapse for no fucking reason already.
right. But this is not one of those.
No, but I am saying that the fact that whenever I look at it and I look at this bridge, realize there's no safety measures to protect it with this major port, with these large ships, there's definitely not been any updates or preventative maintenance to stop a ship from knocking this shit out. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. All right.
So it's a more like a ship crashed into it. Absolutely. That's terrible. And that's an accident. But that thing went down like that. I mean, it's like, like what was holding it together? That didn't look like a lot. It didn't look like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but I mean, your boy Biden dropped $1 trillion on infrastructure, so just give it time to roll out. Like, had this happened under Trump, where he has infrastructure week every single week and never got anything done, and then bridges are collapsing, because bridges will collapse under Trump, that's for sure. But I mean, like the fact that Biden's already passed like a huge bill, the like giant bill on infrastructure, so I don't think like he's gonna get political flack for this.
No. I don't think he is, but I'm saying that this speaks to a bigger issue that we have when it comes to our roads, our bridges, our infrastructure in this country, and that's why it's something that's been brought up and should be addressed. I remember a couple years ago when I-35 in fucking Minneapolis just collapsed. And it's like a trip, like just collapsed, just buckled. Like it's not like this, and we've already been. Don't get me on my rant about fucking trains and these railways. That's what I'm saying. Is there's so many things where if there would have been more modernization and preventative maintenance done on this bridge that looks rickety as fuck to me, just personally, I'm not an architect, looked rickety as fuck to me. Um, Accidents are going to happen, but you should anticipate and do something to prevent those things. Somebody,
Yeah, especially because for every dollar you spend on infrastructure, you get like 50 back, you know? Like like Eisenhower built like the interstate highways, and like all that did was just like open up commerce like throughout
just
the entire country.
yeah, help
Yeah.
blow this country up. So it's like we should be looking at ways to modernize and be innovative and update our existing infrastructure that we have, because this is there's so many bridges that probably are in worse shape, look in worse shape, or knowingly in worse shape than that bridge. And I'm not even saying that that bridge was necessarily not structurally sound. I'm just saying it went down super quick. There was no extra safety measures that a lot of modern bridges that are built now have to stop this shit from happening. I don't know. Maybe because it's going to cost more to fix this now and get this back going than it is to actually than it
Oh
would have
yeah,
been
but
to
that's
update it.
Republicans, dude. They don't want to spend the fucking money, and it's like it's fiscally conservative to front the money on infrastructure. Like you
I mean,
get paid back.
$80 billion of cargo passes through the port of Baltimore each year. That's a lot of money. So they're looking for alternate routes in the East Coast. That's going to affect jobs, people who work there. There's people that are like, that's what I'm saying. There's some. It's the same whenever we saw that one shipping container get stuck, and like one of the worst places to get stuck on a big ass fucking boat. Where was that? The Strait of Jordan. Where the fuck was it? Where it got stuck and it shut everything the fuck down because it dug aground. Do you remember that?
Maybe I know like the Panama canals are
No, it was
dealing with
some
the
big
drought,
it
but
was some big ass boat. This was like literally like a year or two ago, and it got stuck and was turned sideways and like beached and it shut down that whole trade route for like 2 or 3 weeks, and everybody's shit was going crazy. This was during COVID. Um,
yeah, I don't know. Because I mean, like the supply lines were so fucked. Like there was just cargo ships like sitting for like a month outside of
well,
Long Beach.
and there were some that were sitting out in port in the Middle East trying to bring shit because there was a boat 500 yards like came ashore and got stuck, and they had to pull it out, turn it straight, and take it the fuck off. But that shut like the
Did a bunch of white people jump off of it and start beating up black security guards, or
no, that was hey, don't you dare talk about Black Independence Day. How dare you?
is that what we're calling that?
Yeah, for sure.
Shout
Um,
out.
but yeah, I mean, this is something to pay attention to. But this affects a lot of people. Um, I mean, it's frustrating, and there's now people are also saying this is what people are saying. Like, this is what you get for having a diversity.
People are saying
A diversity hire as mayor. People are trying to come up with something other than this being an accident and shitty American infrastructure. They're trying to make it some sort of Obama with the space laser,
yeah, yeah, of course.
zapped Hillary and she got mad, so she stole a boat and crashed it like Speed 2. Like they're like the craziest theories that are popping up, and it's the same fucking
Because
people.
Baltimore's, it's a red city, so they're
Oh
just
yeah,
fucking with the. Wait. I bet Baltimore proper votes like 98% Democratic.
so I mean, like I said, it's terrible. It's an important route for travel. The 4 lane, it's 1.6 miles long. That's how much of a bridge is sitting in that bay right now. 1.6 miles of a fucking bridge is blocking. It goes directly across. You go under that to get to the harbor. There's no other way to get to the port of Baltimore than
Well,
going
how deep is it?
I mean, pretty fucking deep where you don't see all of the bridge. Like you can't.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Can you just float over it?
No, no. I mean, this is big. This is a bridge that carries
I don't know.
11.3 million vehicles a year use that bridge.
Okay, like we got bridges in LA that like people 11.3 million people use like before noon.
Bro, what if that was like your way to get to work, and now you gotta like drive? It takes you gotta leave like an hour and a half early because you can't take the fucking bridge.
Did you know that that Los Angeles has more people than the 40 smallest states combined?
I believe that.
So Los Angeles should have the equivalent of 80 senators, let alone California.
Yeah. Article number 2. This shit's wild, dude. This is we have to talk about it because we haven't really Fed searched Puff Daddy's or P Diddy Combs' properties in Miami, New York,
LA.
L.A. all at once.
Okay, so clarify that.
Department of Homeland Security, not the FBI, not ATF, not DEA, DHS, Department of Homeland Security, investigating all these, these trafficking allegations and all this stuff. Supposedly the kid that like he sends on trips, who's
Hold
like
on, I
his,
won't set it up in case people don't know.
well, Puff Daddy, influential rapper, producer, Bad Boy Records, Ciroc Vodka, Revolt TV.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Arguably like maybe killed Tupac and Biggie.
Breast milk.
And a couple
You
other
made
people as
my
well.
day.
A couple other people allegedly as well. Has been accused. He's in a couple suits, I think 4 civil suits that accuse him of either like drugging people, trafficking people, moving people across state lines, minors across state lines, a lot of really wild stuff. And that's been coming up. He was sued by his ex-girlfriend, Young Miami, who was actually his son's girlfriend before he stole his son's girlfriend. What? She sued him. He paid her out. She filed a civil suit. It became public. He paid her 50 million plus out the next day to drop the lawsuit. So he's already settled lawsuits already, and he paid off his ex-girlfriend something like 50 million,
Cassidy.
$50 million, some crazy shit, or more. And now,
He's a billionaire.
yeah, but now, and then, so he allegedly sold all of his shares in Revolt TV to an unnamed person and is sold out of the TV company he owns. He sold all of his shares recently. That just came out today that he sold.
I just saw the like owner or like the founder of Revolt TV was like on with Laura Coates on CNN. I didn't know that Diddy had anything to do with that, but yeah, and he was like, well, like we need to like, we have a responsibility in the media to like protect like our stars. And she was like, what?
Yeah. But
so it is minors.
yeah, I mean, that's a lot of it's alleged. So there is like,
Obviously, all of it.
there's no warrants for their arrest. Nobody was arrested. His sons, King and I want to say Justin were at his house, so they were detained. But it was like there was like 40 officers, guns drawn, SWAT gear. So they showed up, swarmed all of his properties, and they were looking for stuff. They supposedly took some shit with them. Nobody knows what it is. There is video.
We don't even know if Diddy is the target of this, but I mean
We'll get into
that's
that.
kind of ridiculous.
So it's not clear whether Combs was the target of the investigation, but the officials were not authorized to publicly discuss details of the investigation. In a statement from Homeland Security, they said it executed law enforcement actions as part of an ongoing investigation. The police line was set up around his Los Angeles home. It showed Ridley Scott trying to get into his house, and he got blocked off by the police tapes. He was just sitting there in his car waiting for them to finish raiding Diddy's house so he could go home. It's like, damn, that's better than something you could write or produce, Ridley Scott. This is dramatic as fuck. And then, so Diddy's flight, which they now believe was chartered because he was seen at the Miami airport after his houses were being raided. He was seen the night before at a party in LA, or was it Miami? One of the two. He was seen at a party and looked super just weird and like off in the corner, gazing off into the distance, tapping his foot, Nobody talked to him. At one point, Flava Flav walks in and rocks right by him. He's standing in front of him, and they don't even speak to each other.
That is fucked up,
And he's
dude. When
just,
Flavor Flav
and he's
is
just,
first of all at the same party as
well,
you.
he's flexing, dude. He's pretty iced out. I was actually kind of impressed. And Diddy's just like gazing off into the distance. But then his plane flew out to the Bahamas, somewhere in the Bahamas, and everybody thought he was on the run.
We don't have an extradition treaty.
Everybody thought he was on the run, but he was seen. They were like, he probably charters his plane out and flies it. But he wasn't home whenever the house was raided. His sons were. He like dipped out in the morning, left his kids there, peaced out. Then the house gets raided. Super goofy. But nobody's really seen him. They released a statement. I've seen videos supposedly of what his house looked like after it was raided. It's blown up on Twitter. Like? I mean, it looks like Diddy's closet, a lot of like fur coats and shit, but it's just like shit thrown, like they're digging and looking for stuff, you know? It's
I wonder what it is.
I mean, with the allegations, I mean, basically what's alleged is that he is essentially like the Jeffrey Epstein of the music industry.
That's what it sounds like.
And he's blackmailing people and entrapping people, getting them to do stuff, and then he's using that against them and using that to have people bend to his will. That's what it sounds like. That's what he's basically being alleged of. And that other people know of it or have enabled it. And so now you get into the fringe. In the fringe, some people say that he's just being a fall guy because they know that he has all this dirt on all these other people. So either A, people are trying to steal all the evidence and destroy it so these people don't get in trouble, whoever he has dirt on. Or, no, I'm serious, man. People are like dead ass serious about this.
But I mean, even if that's true, he would still be in trouble.
No,
like,
exactly. So what I'm
people?
saying is like he's doing that at the behest of somebody else. Like he's a cog in a bigger machine, just like they say about the whole Epstein thing.
It's so dumb. He's a billionaire. How much bigger does it need to get?
I'm just saying. So there's some people that believe that, yeah, he's a part of a bigger scheme and he's being made out to be the fall guy for this because he has all this information, and if it gets out, people will go down. Or that this is a fake raid and that they're just taking information and it's actually bad people who are friends with Diddy and that Diddy's going to get off because his people are going to protect him. I'm telling you, man, the world is just so crazy with theories right now. And that's one of them, is that like the government's knowing of what Diddy has been doing and they've been using that to their advantage, or that it's some psyop where Diddy's working with the CIA. There's all sorts of wild ass theories, just like they were everything that applied to Epstein. Everything that's
surprised by this.
I mean, no, I think that the raiding the three houses,
it's shocking but not surprising.
The raiding.
No, I'm not talking about the raiding. I'm talking about that Diddy's involved in like sex capades where he drugs people in films and traffics.
But that's been something that's been alleged of him for a really long time.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So this, to me, it's like you don't need a conspiracy. It's like this sounds like we found out that there was a conspiracy and he's leading it. You know. I wonder if he like knows Epstein, because like I mean they both like coming up in New York around the same time, you know, like making money. What if he just was like, oh, look at like what this dude's doing, let me do that?
Well, I mean, or were they doing it at the same time? That's where some people are saying they're both cogs in a bigger machine and they're more similar than they're different, and that they're like those circles intermingle and those guys are a part of the same bigger conspiracy.
They're like they're the pinnacle of the like cogs in what? Like they're facilitating.
Well, that's what they say about Epstein. Is it's like, who was he doing this for? Why was he?
Who gives a shit? Does it matter?
Well, those would be the people that's like saying, hey, we got the puppet, but you're not getting the puppet master. So yes, if there is somebody who's making Puff Daddy do shit like this, or Jeffrey Epstein putting them up to this stuff, yeah, that would be it's a big problem.
They're the common denominator.
No,
they're the one putting other people up to stuff. They're the cogs. They're the billionaires.
What are we talking
about?
There's a very interesting documentary. I implore everyone to watch. It's on YouTube, so it's great. I think it's a 2 or 3 parter, but it's called Surviving Diddy, and it's just about Puff Daddy, how he got started, where he came from, his rise, the creation of Bad Boy, how it all started up until now with a bunch of allegations and interviews and people that now that you hear that have said these things that were like blackballed from the rap industry in like 2000 because they were like Diddy's doing some weird shit with people and everybody's like you're crazy and now those
I think
people
he like hung Wale like over a balcony, or it was like
right
it
his
was
leg.
one of those guys. Yeah, like for using a beat that he wanted to use or something.
Something trivial
And
and
he
stupid.
blew up like that. Who another rapper's car because he thought he was fucking Cassidy.
That was Kid Cudi.
Kid Cudi, yeah,
And
like
Kid
these are
Cudi and Kid and
like
like
people you know.
Cassidy said that or the so that was in that lawsuit that she filed. That was a part of the lawsuit, and then when that became public, he tweeted and was like, "Yeah, man, that shit fucking happened. My car fucking blew up in my driveway. He like came and somebody blew my fucking car up because he thought I was smashing his chick." So I mean, like he's got this whole intimidation mafioso tactic kind of thing to him that's kind of been an a known secret, but has not been publicly discussed as much as it probably should have been. And that's what's interesting is that now it's coming to this head, and these people that were told that that said that stuff like this was going on, that were told to be made crazy, are now sound right as fuck. And some of the stuff that he's alleged of in some of these lawsuits is like exactly what people accused him of doing 15 years ago, 20 fucking years ago. There's an interview where Tupac is talking shit about Bad Boy and talking shit about Puff Daddy and talking shit about how like this dude's trying to like fuck him. He like literally talks about it, and it's like it's wild to go back and watch him ranting, just being passionate fucking Tupac, talking about what he's got going on in his view of life and talking about these guys and the words he chooses to use and what he says they're trying to do. You're like, that's fucking weird because now he's like getting his house raided by the Department of Homeland Security, not the FBI, not the ATF, not the DEA, not your county sheriffs, not fucking state
Well,
police.
that's probably because he's crossed borders with this
He's
shit.
got pending
If he's
RICO.
going to the Bahamas, then
Well, because that's if he's taking that's international crimes. That's like if he's
exactly.
if he's taking people to islands out of the country, all this stuff. Yeah, man, that's like or allowing even if he's just allowing others to use his private jet for nefarious purposes, like that's crazy. It's separate, but it's separate. It has nothing to do with the topic, so I'm not bringing it up to try to lump him in with Diddy. But like, so the Shohei Ohtani shit. Shohei Ohtani's really good. Accused of gambling.
Baseball player for the Dodgers
Yes.
from Japan who just signed a 10-year, $700 million deal that doesn't kick in for 10 more years.
And there was an illegal bookmaker who was arrested. They did a raid on his fucking house and they came across a bunch of ledgers, and whose name comes up on a ledger for $4.5 million in wire transfers from his fucking account? Shohei Ohtani. And that's like blasphemous. But he accuses his interpreter.
He has an interpreter who's like his best friend.
No, he was hired. He was hired by them originally, and they became friends after the fact. He didn't come here with him.
No, I know that.
He was an Angels employee.
Right, and they became close, and supposedly the interpreter has millions of dollars of debt, of gambling debt to a bookie, an illegal bookie. But it turned out like half the story that came out, it's not true at all, and then now it's like, do we know what actually happened? Or are they still investigating?
I mean, I'm sure
he says he's never gambled on
anything in his life. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the end of it. There's no way it is. He's because there's the
highest paid fucking athlete ever in this country.
But there's people looking into his time overseas and things, and just people are gonna dig. So we'll see.
The Japs love to gamble.
Jesus, yes. So, but yeah, so Puff Daddy, lots of trouble.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Like living your life, you become a billionaire, but like you have like this whole like fucking like felonious like behavior, like like just knowing at any second you could get caught and the whole thing's gonna collapse. Like I just would not want to deal with that pressure, man.
Yeah.
But I also wouldn't be like drugging my girlfriend to like and then hiring like four dudes to like fuck her on camera, like while I filmed it, you know.
Yeah, it's and there's a producer, a guy that he said that he like drugged him up, made him
Yeah.
do stuff, did stuff
Yeah,
with
he was
him.
sex
It's like
trafficking like yeah, like a guy. Like it's not just
it
chick.
just seems like it was just like I don't know. The whole thing is super crazy,
Yeah. Dude
super
is like
messy.
fucking predator.
It's literally anything R. Kelly, but
It's like
times
worse than R.
Yeah,
Kelly.
it's R. Kelly times 1,000.
Yeah, like he's like the rich R. Kelly
It's R. Kelly with the what's it
with
with the
with like a
with
business acumen.
no with true social inflation. He's got that truth social inflation on that for sure. Third article: Carrie Lake won't fight Arizona election officials defamation suit. So she's basically called it quits. She's defamed people when she's been fighting because she's still saying that Arizona was stolen. Blah blah blah. Same old bullshit. She keeps saying it, and she got filed with lawsuits for defamation and slander. And she was fighting them, and now she says she's not fighting them anymore. This is like they're all so full
Wait,
of
she's
shit.
still running?
No, she's running for senator.
Oh, I thought that's what you.
No,
Like,
no,
that's
no,
all
no,
the
no, no.
title.
This is whenever she lost her
She's
governor.
not gonna fight. She's just. What does that even mean?
Like you're just like just saying
she's firing her lawyer.
You defame. You were saying that that you defamed them. So she's a Trump protege, currently running for a campaign for Senate in Arizona. Formally petitioned the court to hold a default judgment hearing, motioning to skip straight through the process of determining whether Richter is owed damages and if so, how much. So she's just like, I'm just gonna pay this. That's like the weirdest shit ever. So she's been because she's been fighting this the entire time. So to just give up now is weird. Like that's like part of your whole political strategy for running for Senate is that you had the election stolen, others did. This person is lying and that I defamed, so I'm innocent in defaming him because I'm telling the truth. That's why you should vote for me for senator, so we should fix this. But I'm not gonna.
Well, she flip flop also on abortion, like now, like because like she was like all about like banning abortion.
Yeah.
And then now she's saying that she never said that because it's not playing well in Arizona. But it's like now you're like on camera saying this.
Yeah, that's true. It's very
trying to moderate it, like I guess.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, if you're gonna deal with it and pay and like just get it over with before you actually elect, because but this is gonna be
that's what Trump did. That's what Trump did with Trump University. He just settled like because it was like
this is gonna be like a debate
election.
topic for you. You're never gonna escape this.
Yeah, but she is a.
But they don't. I guess they don't care. They just don't.
They
give
don't
a shit.
care.
They just don't give a shit. They're like they love me no matter what.
Yeah, she'll just make up something. You know, the truth doesn't matter anymore.
Oh man.
True social matters apparently though.
Like no joke, people are going to jail for multiple years because they believed her and decided to do something very irresponsible. Call me or someone else in the country and say, I'm going to kill you because you stole the 2020 election. And like those people are going to have to sit in jail knowing that that was a lie. Boom. Yeah. That's huge. That's like a
horrible person.
Yeah. Richter, who's running for re-election as county recorder, doesn't want the defamation claims to overshadow the fact that she isn't fighting his claim that she lied. That's where he's like, fuck the money. Everybody needs to know that she's lied, and now she's not even fighting the fact that she lied.
But again, what does that mean? I'm not fighting it. Like, is there not a lawsuit?
That's just like admitting that you lied. So okay. That's why she's saying, like, just skip it. How much money do I owe him? That's what she said. Is like, tell me how much money I owe him so I can pay this, may be done with it, and fuck all, I'm done. That's literally what she said.
Well, shout out Carrie Lake, possible vice president. I don't think that she'll get the vice presidency. She's too batshit for Trump to like manage.
It'll be somebody like his daughter. It's Ivanka. Everyone knows she's gonna be the hottest vice president that's ever viced for a president in a bigly way. Last one. I kind of like this. Meatball Ron signs bill that bans children under 14 from having social media accounts in Florida.
Yeah.
Round of applause. I'm not. He's a piece of shit. But I think that parents aren't doing their due diligence and aren't really stopping these kids from getting too involved in social media too early. That I think that it should be, that I'm all for that. I'm all for something like this.
Yeah, I heard somebody had a proposal. I don't know if it was like a proposal for a law or that they were like, if all parents just agree to this, it's like the problem is like they don't. It's like you can't not give your kid a cell phone when everybody kid has a cell phone.
Well, yeah, you're just.
But if all the parents agreed to not give their kids cell phones, then all the kids would be a lot happier. Like they did like this polling, like um, it was like, how many of you wish that Netflix was never ever invented, and like nobody, like this college class, like nobody raised their hand, and then it was like, how many of you guys use TikTok, and like mostly all of them like raised their hand. Then like, how many of you wish TikTok was never invented, and it was like most of them.
Yeah.
And it was like most of them would love to get rid of like social media, but like all their friends are on it. So like they did like a study where or like at a boarding school, they took they take their phones away, and it's like they don't miss them when nobody has them, you know. But the proposal this guy was saying was no cell phone until high school, no social media until you're 16. I like just how things worked out with technology in our age.
We lucked out.
Yeah, we got cell phones like literally, I think, right when we got into high school, but they weren't smartphones yet.
No, they were shitty. But they were
Yeah,
awesome.
and social media didn't exist until we were freshmen in college. So like I would say no social media till college, like because that worked out for us. But 16, I mean that's the start, I guess.
Yeah,
But
I
you
mean,
can just like, so like the age verification is bullshit. You just say like you're older. Like all you have to do is put a different birth date in. It's like nobody checks.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll do something, but people have been grilling TikTok and grilling all these people. I agree with it. Companies found in violation of this law could be liable up to $50,000.
Well, the company's not going to be in violation.
Companies who fail to do so could be sued on behalf of the child who creates an account on the platform, and the minor would be awarded up to 10 grand in damages.
So they're giving incentives to minors
To go try
create accounts.
to try to go create accounts, and if you do,
Yeah.
we'll pay you a bounty.
I'm gonna go hire up like some Floridian miners to go start accounts, like $10,000 a pop.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's in Florida. That's like 25 G's.
Yeah. You got to do something like you get to keep 8 of the 10 on the first. No, hold on,
You're
on
a
the first
fucking minor.
on the first one, and then after that, it's like 50-50 split. I'm not doing anything. You got to keep
He's not even allowed to be working. Like out here,
allowed to be on
handle,
TikTok.
Hey, yeah, I'll give you 8,000 of each one, but I'm gonna manage the money for you until you're an adult.
But I mean, I do think that this is like a good move by Meatball Ron in the sense that it's forcing the conversation of like.
But okay, but these apps, Instagram already has an age limit.
No, well, I know, but
So this isn't doing anything.
it's
What they need to do is make it Apple and Google, who have the duopoly on the app stores,
yeah.
like Google Play and then Apple App Store. They need to make them do the age verification. So like when you're getting the app, because they know whose phone it is. So that's when it should be done. It shouldn't have to be like you can download this app and then just lie about your age and you're in.
Yeah, that's fair. That makes sense.
I mean, you go to like Pornhub and it just asks you what your birthday
And
is.
they're all locked down. And no, in Texas, you have to take a picture of your ID.
Oh, see, well, that's what these apps can start doing.
That's
then,
what
I
in
think
Texas
it
they
should
have all
just be
that.
at the App Store level.
They said
Any app.
They said the Google searches for VPNs in Texas has like skyrocketed because people are trying to get VPNs to try to get around it and say that they're out of state.
Yeah, and VPN's super easy to get. It's like free.
No, I know. It's just funny that that's like a trackable stat, and it's like,
Same. You guys can't even watch porn anymore, dude. You guys can't so you can't even watch porn. So now you just want to fuck
no, you can.
because
You just gotta. You gotta let me see that ID.
I know, but like in case you don't want to give Pornhub like your information.
Yeah, that's cringe
I mean, I'll give it to OnlyFans, but you know.
Yeah, that's cringe as fuck, dude. I don't want to be giving
Yeah.
Pornhub my
Yeah,
driver's license.
And then speaking of like people who have information about you that you don't want other people to know, like what you're looking at, like in porn, you know. I mean, I wouldn't be that embarrassed about it, but it's like not something that you know what I'm saying. It's like I don't like to go around talking about like my porn selection.
I gotta go download a VPN so I can get to my porn.
I can get a 3 and clean off.
Yeah, no, like that'd be weird. That'd be cringe as fuck.
So you guys can't get an abortion, so you can't jerk off. So they're forcing you into sex, and then you can't abort the baby like that you wouldn't have even like had because you would have just jerked off like a normal person.
True, that's very true.
And they're gonna and then they had the whole methochrystone thing, like the abortion pill debate at the Supreme Court today.
Yeah, that's true.
I was listening to the live stream for a while. Yeah, it's insane because like the argument to ban the abortion pill, like for everybody, is like, what if somebody uses the abortion pill? Oh, like for every person who uses the abortion pill, 7% of them, it's not going to complete the abortion, and out of that 7%, they're going to have surgery. And then what if there's a doctor who doesn't want to perform that surgery because it's completing an abortion? So that therefore, and then like the Supreme Court justices are like, wait, what? They're like you don't have standing here. Like you're saying like if this happens and then this happens and then this happens, this might happen.
What's weird is too when they're talking about banning like TikTok and shit. It's like Steve Mnuchin and all these fucking tools are like, we'll get a group together and we'll buy.
They have the money.
TikTok, and everyone's like, no.
I know, but they're not banning TikTok. They're just saying that
they will if you don't sell it to an American-based company,
right? Which so I wish people would stop saying ban because then it changes the conversation. Like, should we be banning them? It's like we're not actually banning.
No,
them.
okay, and I agree.
It's like Rupert Murdoch, the head of Fox News, is an American citizen. Why? Because he wanted to buy a broadcast network, Fox, in America, and you're not allowed to do that as a non-American. So we forced him to become a citizen before we would let him buy Fox News, like a big media company. TikTok is the biggest media company in America.
Yeah. But I mean, I like the direction that Meatball Ron's heading and the idea of thinking age limits for some of these apps for kids, because there's some 8-year-olds with TikTok accounts and they can get into some weird shit. That's what I'm just saying.
Totally. And they don't need to be, and like they're better off like without it. Like we're better off, society's better off, but we'll see if like this actually gets enforced and how it gets enforced.
Yeah.
Because like Montana passed a law to ban TikTok and that got like shut down by like a judge.
Oh yeah, but I mean this is Eileen.
I know, but I'm just saying like
Miss Cannon's gonna be like, I got this.
There's no regulation on any social media, period, in America. Like in Europe, they got plenty, but in America, we're just like, no, I don't know about that. So I'm just saying, like when these states try to, like Texas, I think is trying to do like some sort of social media regulation, and it's like, well, you don't get to do that. Like, you know, you're a state. Like this is like a national policy. Like you can't just like make up rules for like individual companies.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
All right, well, I think another great show by us. Shout out to all the listeners last week.
Yeah. We appreciate you coming by. Like, follow, and subscribe as always. Or leave a review on, like, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever. Leave us 5 stars.
Yeah, there's, like, Q&A and replies and stuff you can do on Spotify.
Yeah, so do some of that shit, people. But we do appreciate
or ask us a question.
Yeah, or give us therapy questions if you'd like. But we do appreciate y'all listening as always. 131, what the fuck is going on? This has been a crazy 48 hours. But do you have anything deep, insightful, inspiring for us, sir?
The stock symbol for True Social is DJT, Donald J. Trump. DJT. Please short it. Puts all day. Puts all day. Reddit? Reddit? Went public last week? Popped. Doubled. Doubled from its IPO price. It's like at 70 now. Opened at 34. That's a stock
Yeah.
you could ride.
All right. Well, you heard it here first. Not a financial advisor. As always, we appreciate y'all coming by. Be safe. Be strong. Stay out of trouble. And as always, go fuck yourselves.
Shout out.
Recording stopped.
Oh, I forgot to tell you.